Yo, what's going on, guys? Man, look, I'm back with another tutorial this week. Like I said in my last video, I'm going to be uploading 5 consecutive videos this week. This is number 2. So look, in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys the best Premiere Pro export settings to get the highest quality videos for YouTube. So let's get right into it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and jump right into Premiere Pro. As you guys can see, I have my timeline, I got my clip in here. So if you guys didn't see my last video, I talked about my sequence settings. If you want to see the settings that I use for my sequence, this is what I use. I use Red Cinema. Always make sure I'm using a 24 frames per second timeline or equivalent, like the 23.976. I always use a 1920 by 1080p timeline. It's just my preference for like if I want to use like a 4K video and I want to downscale that into the 1080p timeline. And then these are the other settings that I use. So yeah, that's that right there. So let's go ahead and get right into the export settings. So what you want to do is you want to hit Command M. If you're on Mac, you hit Command M. This is what pops up. You got your match source high bitrate, but I'm not going to use that. So the one that I always use is, so I'm going to use this for like exporting to YouTube, like I said, but you can really use this for like Instagram or really any video that I think is going to give you the highest quality for your video. So I'm going to go down to, I use this on right here, YouTube 2160p 4K Ultra HD. Now I have a preset right here, but I'm going to start from scratch based on what they give you with this preset. So this is what that preset gives you. You got your 4K video 3840 by 2160 for the width and height, but we're going to go in and change a bit for this preset. So what I like to do is I'm going to render this at maximum depth. That's just going to give you, obviously you want to maximize it to the highest as possible. So it does high 5.1, but I just do 5.2, just personal preference. But I think just make sure you're like above 5.0, but I just like using 5.2. That just works best for me. This is all grayed out, so you want to scroll down. Now this is going to be a big part. So you have CBR, VBR 1 pass, and VBR 2 pass. Now the main difference between CBR and VBR is this is going to be a constant bit rate for your video. So you can set this to whatever bit rate you want, and that's going to be the constant bit rate for the entirety of the video. And so if you go to VBR 1 pass or 2 pass, I'm just going to click on 2 pass. You have these different options right here. So with variable bit rate, the VBR 2 pass, there's going to be 2 separate passes, if that makes sense. So the first pass is going to analyze how much bit rate is needed for the video, and then with the second pass is going to actually render the video. Now the settings that I use is I always just go to 80, and then I want to do this at 120 just to give me additional bit rates just in case I need that. Also keep in mind that the higher your target bit rate is, the larger your file size is going to be. So if I do like 160, you see that this is going to jump to 588 megs. Just keep that in mind if you are working on like a smaller hard drive or something like that. So all right, so once you got that, last thing we want to, or one of the last things we want to do is we want to click on use maximum render quality. Obviously that's given in the name. You want to maximize the render quality. Obviously that's an obvious given within the name. You want to make sure you maximize the render quality, and also want to use previews. I always use previews just to make that export time a lot faster. 3840 by 2160 for the width and height. You want to make sure you render at maximum depth. I got the profile at high, level at 5.2, and then I got my VBR 2 pass. The target bit rate is going to be 80, and then maximum bit rate is going to be 120. And also use maximum render quality, and be sure to use your previews. This is going to be the last thing. So if you guys can see, this is how my image should look when it exports. Now, I used to notice that when I would export a lot of my old footage, it would just look like the contrast and the blacks and the shadows would just be lifted up, like not how it looks within my timeline. So what I do is I'm gonna go to effects. I'm gonna click on the Lumetri look and LUT, and I'm going to import this LUT. Now this is going to be found on the Adobe website. I just have this saved on my hard drive. QT gamma compensation. This is going to help a lot when it comes to maintaining those shadows, blacks, and the contrast within the video. And if you guys notice that it became a little darker, so if I uncheck this, it's going to go back to how it looks. If I check this, it makes it a little darker. So don't be worried about that. That's just how it looks in the pre-export, if that makes sense. This isn't how dark it's gonna look when I actually export this video. So it just helps when, I don't know what it is about Premiere Pro. It just it just does some weird stuff, but using this gamma compensation LUT does help with a lot of the contrast and the blacks and shadows being lost with them at export. So I'm going to link this down in the description if you guys want to use this. There's like tons of videos on YouTube if you want to get more like understanding about it, but this is what I use to make sure that I keep those blacks, shadows, and the contrast the way it should look when I actually export. And then if you want to save this as a preset, so I mean I already have this saved as a preset, which is this name right here, but just to show you guys, if you want to save it as a preset, just click save preset. I'm going to name this test. So save effect settings, all that stuff, because we did touch the effect settings. Just click OK. So now if I want to go back into what we just did, it's going to have all of those settings saved. Yeah, just make sure you save it as a preset, so the next time you go back into one of your next videos, you have this preset saved. So yeah, get your output name and the destination, and then once you got that, you can go ahead and click export, and then you're good to go. All right guys, that's going to be it for this little quick tutorial. Hope you guys are enjoying this little upload frenzy that I'm having with these tutorials this week. I'm just trying to pass along the amount of knowledge that I've gained throughout the past year when it comes to like my editing stuff. So yeah, I'm hoping you guys are enjoying these tutorials. Also, one thing to keep in mind, that I said that I use 1080p timelines. The main reason why I export in 4K is I believe that uploading 4K videos to YouTube, even though you can't really watch 4K videos on your phone, just like if somebody were to watch on your TV or something like that, I think uploading a 4K file is going to give you obviously a higher quality, because YouTube is going to compress your video. So you got your regular 1080p like this, and then your 4K is like that. So I would rather have a larger file compressed in compared to a 1080p even compressed in even more. So that's why I always export to 4K, no matter if I'm shooting 1080p footage or 4K footage, doesn't matter. I'm always going to export out to 4K. All right guys, I'm about to get up out of here, man. Look, if you guys enjoyed this video or found it to be informational to you, hit that like button. If you're new here, consider subscribing, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out, guys.